Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final Siren. We got a review of the Week 1 finals games. Absolutely cracking week of finals. Boys, I'd say this is one of the best opening weeks of finals we've seen in quite a while. Would either of you agree or disagree on that? I mean, Sunday game was a bit of a letdown, but other than that, I think it was brilliant for me.
Yeah, you can't complain about. Can't complain about the weekend of footy that we just saw. Every game was brilliant in its own way. Even though Friday night's result didn't reflect on how good the game was, it was still a cracking game of footy. And I'm keen to look forward. I'm keen to watch the games coming up this weekend. 2 cracking games again, and we'll see what happens.
Well said. And you for us?
Yeah, I think every game lived up to its hype, especially that Cow Sharks one at the end. I mean, you get 93 minutes of like rugby league straight out. Felt like I was a Broncos fan rooting for the Cows to win that. But, great week after all, especially the Sunday game. Even though the scoreline wasn't the prettiest, like all the action, the intensity there, I think just being there was intense.
Well said. Yeah, I think for me, the Cowboys versus Sharks game was the one I was probably looking forward to actually the least out of all of them, even though it was for a prelim spot, and it was the one I probably ended up enjoying the most. But yeah, I mean the scorelines. I think the scoreline for the Friday night game, which we'll go into now, like you said, Lachlan, didn't really reflect how good of a game it was. Panthers by 19. Brilliant game to start off with. I think at one point it was 9 to. Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Maybe 9 to 8, or it was 7 to 8. Actually, sorry. Eels way. Before the Moses concussion, which really just changed the momentum of the game, boys. Obviously, I think we all had Panthers winning. I think we all predicted that, like last second in that preview. But would you boys like to touch up on how this game went?
You can go first, Lachlan, if you want.
I think it just showed again. It was just a Cleary masterclass. Like Nathan Cleary comes back in the team and he just dominates every team that they come up against. You could just see all their stars were firing as per usual at the right time. Dylan Edwards once again, Isaiah Yeo, Jerome Luai was good, and then Cleary was brilliant as usual. But I thought the Eels did turn up for a majority of that game, and then Moses went down. And people can't pin it on Jacob Arthur because he came in at the hardest time possible against Penrith, who were firing. But yeah, again, for me, Cleary won that game for Penrith. Those bombs he was putting up for Wong and Blake, and he couldn't handle them under the pressure and the high ball. And then off the back of that, his forwards doing their usual job, and Penrith were just too good once again, as they show this year. For me, they're probably going to go back to back, but we'll see what happens.
Definitely. And you for us?
Well, the scoreline reflects it as Panthers 13 plus. Let me tell you, for 55 minutes of that game, I was scratching my head as to who was going to win the game for their side. Was it going to be a Moses masterclass from here, or would Cleary just continue his dominance? And the latter didn't happen. Moses getting sent off didn't help the Eels cause. But for me, Moses being sent off didn't really affect or change the game. Penrith was still ahead of the game. And for me, they just came out all guns blazing in the second half. They did rue a few missed chances that first 20 minutes, and Parramatta did capitalize with a try of their own. I think the turning point of that game was when Moses missed that kick and allowed Cleary to get one back. I think that just gave Penrith all the momentum they needed going to the halftime break. Yeah, look, it's a tough loss for Parramatta because they were really in it, honestly. But then again, it's like when you play the Panthers, when Cleary's at top level, it's hard to beat them. Like for me, if the Panthers are going to lose this year, in the grand final or prelim, whatever it is, they have to be themselves, honestly. I can't see how anyone can beat this team.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I think it's becoming growing to be one of the best rivalries in the game, Panthers versus Eels. I mean, obviously Roosters versus Rabbitohs will stay first for me. I think Broncos versus Cowboys is another one that's up there, but Panthers versus Eels, obviously, it's actually growing a lot and becoming a really good rivalry. I enjoy watching it pretty much every single time, and this game was no different. I mean, yeah, it really was a matter of fact, like when Moses missed the field goal, and you could just tell, I think the mindset of the Penrith forwards was get up there, get Nathan Cleary his shot. He didn't miss his shot, and it was beautiful to see. 7-6 at halftime. You don't see so many close games like that at halftime that end up in such a blowout score. But for me, the turning point was when Moses went off the field. Obviously, Eels lacked direction. They lacked kicking. Jake Arthur, I think he put his first kick. I think he put out on the full.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for the Eels. Hopefully Moses is fine. Hopefully he's back this week, which will probably do a.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
In the live chat, like there's a bloke called Ash. If that's my brother watching, can you just confirm because that's my brother's name?
I think so. Yep. But yeah, I think we'll talk about Moses more when we go into. I think we'll maybe Thursday or maybe tomorrow, depending on timing. We'll do an actual preview of this week's finals matches. But yeah, I think Moses apparently has been named, but we'll talk about that more later. But yeah, brilliant game for me. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. I would actually love to see Panthers versus Eels in the grand final. I think they can do that now. But yeah, I guess it all depends. I personally have Panthers versus Cowboys, but I guess we'll see what happens. Saturday afternoon, Storm versus Raiders. I'm not too sure who Lockie tipped, but I definitely know Fraz and I tipped Raiders.
It will Storm. I'm pretty sure.
I went Storm.
Brilliant game once again. The lead just kept changing hands. I think at first, Storm.
Canberra scored the first try, then Melbourne hit back.
Yeah, it was. I think at one stage Storm were up 20-12 or something, 20-16 or something like that. Yeah. And Canberra. We've been saying it all week. They don't really lose many games at Amy Park, surprisingly, and they showed again why they don't. Brilliant performance. A lot of players who did really well, did their jobs well. I think Joe Tarpany was great as always. Josh Papali'i showed his finals experience already. What did you boys think about this game?
I tipped everything correctly here. I said Canberra to win an upset, Canberra to win by 8, and Rapana to score the match-winning try. Look, this result, I still tipped the Raiders, but it still surprised me because it just sinks to me that Melbourne have been knocked out the first week. It's crazy seeing Melbourne to lose at home in the first week and go out of the comp. If I'm the Eels, I'm actually a bit relieved, honestly, because I don't want to play Melbourne in a finals game. Look, it was a gutsy effort from the Green Machine. Ricky Slaughter has his boys crying at the right time of the year. And a lot of people are saying, they had an easy draw and all that heading into the finals. They beat the Sharks twice in the top 4. They beat the Rabbitohs, I'm pretty sure, twice or once. And they beat Melbourne in the regular season. So they've beaten some of the good sides. So they're a side you don't want to play in the finals because you just don't know what you're going to get from them. Tarpin's firing right now. Hudson Young's on fire. Fogarty, ever since he's came back, Canberra have lost 2 to 3 games. He's been a good luck charm. Yeah. And, yeah, look, it's scary times for the Raiders. It's scary what they can do in this finals run. I don't know if they're a threat just yet, but if they win, they're in a prelim. So,
yeah. Definitely. Well said. And you, Lachlan?
I don't think we're all the Raiders out yet. I think they're definitely fine. Even with the hoodoo that they've got at Amy Park, I still think that going to Melbourne it just doesn't happen overnight, and you just don't beat the Storm in Melbourne. No matter what team, if it's the Roosters or whatever, you still got to play your best footy in Melbourne to win that.
Definitely. But
it all started, Matt Tomoko fended off Cameron Munster to score in the corner. And then it was all from there. But then Storm bounced back, and I thought the Storm were going to run away with it. And then Canberra put the foot down, and Storm couldn't match it in the end. And Storm had their chances. They had their chances to score there, but they silly mistakes and discipline from their front rowers. And credit to the Raiders. They were the better team on the night. I think they're a good chance against Eels. Not many people are going to give them that good of a chance, but I still think that Raiders could win it.
Well said. Just to talk about how much lead changes there were throughout the game quickly, I believe the lead changed hands 3 or 4 times looking at the tries scored, which is crazy in a finals. Not really crazy in a finals match, but just crazy in general. But yeah, brilliant game. One of my favorite finals games I reckon I've watched in a long time. And the Green Machine, they keep surprising me. I thought they were going to win, but now they've got the Eels, and if they beat the Eels, they go to a prelim final against the Cowboys at
I think they're.
Queensland
I
Country
think, I'm
Bank.
not going to jump. I'm not going to jump too much into this, but I'd rather be on the Raiders side this week. I just feel Parramatta with all the pressure. Like Canberra, let's not be mistaken. They still don't really have any pressure, and you can already say this is a past year. So they're going to come into Friday's game. I think they play Parramatta on Friday. They'll come with no pressure at all to perform. This is Parramatta's probably last chance in a while. So they'll be on the back of their minds, and we know how they can go with pressure in the final. So the Raiders have a lot going for them. Don't rule them out just yet this week.
If I'm going to be honest, I would probably give the Raiders a better chance than the Eels to beat
100%.
Cowboys in North Queensland.
Definitely. For me too. Yeah. I'm not too sure what happens here, but Canberra, if you're a Canberra fan, you're a real chance. I could see them making the grand final. For me, if they make the prelim, it's them or Cowboys, and I'm sort of 60-40 to Cowboys, but that's 60-40. Like I'm giving Canberra good odds there, I reckon.
That's good value.
Yeah. Saturday night, speaking of the Cowboys, Sharks versus Cowboys, 30-32. The Cowboys, Golden Point. How about the Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? How about Valentine Holmes? That 47-meter field goal. Holy cow. What that was it was great to watch, and it was great to see the reactions of the Cowboys making their first. I think that's their first prelim final at their new home ground. I think first ever home prelim apparently they said on their wall or something like that, which is just crazy when you think about it.
Isn't it like their first ever home, like a finals game in North Queensland at that new stadium?
Yeah. They haven't made finals since I think that stadium was only 2020. So
yeah,
brilliant to see. And congratulations to the Cowboys. What a game this was, boys. Where to start? It was such a great game the whole way through.
Yep.
Again, lead changes galore. You had a feeling Sharks were going to win it when I think they were leading 30-22 with like 7 minutes left or something. Then you thought Cowboys were a chance. What do you boys think about this game, and how good was it?
Well, for starters, the Cowboys with that win over Cronulla, they've proved that they can win in Sydney. All this talk about them, they can't win in Sydney. Sharks should roll them over. Home ground advantage. Cows proved them so wrong. And don't get me wrong, I tipped the Cows before, but I thought this game was going to go either way. And the scorecard reflected that. If I'm Cronulla, honestly, I'm devastated they lost that game. For me, leading by 8 with 6 minutes to go, I just think the way they lost that game, it'll hurt them. So it's going to be interesting how they approach next week's game against South Sydney, considering they've played 93 minutes. It's taken the lives out of them from that game. So, look, well done to the Cowboys. The game, it turned on its head, but good on them. The Cows, they haven't had much finals experience, and they held their nerves, and Holmes stepping up in extra time against his former side as well in Cronulla. Oh, boy, would he have loved that. Look, congratulations to the Cowboys in a home prelim. Everyone had the wooden spinners at the start of the year. Good on them. They're representing Queensland very well.
Yeah, well said. And another thing, just like I said for the Storm Raiders game, there was 5 lead changes in that game. Again, just complete. It was madness. I think at one stage they were going blow for blow. I think Cowboys scored first. Cronulla scored 2. Cowboys scored 2 again. And I think Cronulla scored a few. So it was great to see. But yeah, what do you think, Lachlan?
I think it was an unbelievable game. This was the definition of finals footy. Both sides absolutely gave it their all. You can't discredit anyone. The Sharks showed up as we knew they would. The Cowboys showed up as well. It was a great game. It was physical. Both teams are going to be absolutely knackered. I think this takes a big what's the word I'm looking for? It takes a big disadvantage for the Sharks into the next game due to how physical and how long that game went. I think it gives the Rabbitohs that slight advantage due to how tired and sore you would say. I don't really know what words I don't really need here, but all credit goes to the Cowboys, really. I didn't pick them. I was going Sharks. I had my mind on the Sharks, but the Cowboys, they were too good on the night. Valentine Holmes is an absolute star. We all knew this before. His NFL and the punting in the NFL would have helped him a lot with that. You don't see that many clean strikes anymore from that range. But Tommy Dearden showed up when it mattered most. I thought Nanai and a few others were a bit quiet, but and again, the Cowboys stars showed up when they needed them.
Yeah, well said.
How good was Tom Dearden?
He's brilliant. That's his first finals game, I
Exactly.
think, which is just crazy when you think about it.
The thing is that Tom Dearden try, it's a good try.
That
But
defense
it should never have happened.
For me, Will Kennedy was very off. I know he scored that try, but that was also credit to, I don't know who made that line break. I think it was Ronaldo that led the try. But I just think Kennedy on defense was off. He let 2 tries and 2 soft tries. And I think he let a 4 jump over him to score. So it wasn't the best of nights for William Kennedy, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. But they need him to play better. That's for sure. Because you can't have that defense in finals. Yes, it was a close game, but leaking 32 points to a side that hasn't even made finals for 5 years, it's a bit worrying, honestly.
Definitely. I think, there was when Tommy Dearden ran out of dummy half and scored that try, you could just sort of see Kennedy just sort of reach for him, and there wasn't really much.
Yeah. And also, they didn't try
desperation.
They didn't try Kennedy, and I don't know which other bloke was coming to the line. They literally bumped into each other.
Yeah, there wasn't any desperation, and that's what you need in a finals game. But
100%.
the Sharks fans, they can be proud of their team. Their team did really well. I think it was a good game.
Toby Rudolph, probably the best game I've seen him play in a long time.
Definitely. But I reckon that is one of the. I even said that as soon as I finished watching that. That is one of the best games I've ever watched. NRL games.
A lot of people have said that it's right up there with the Roosters Tigers prelim in 2010, I think. What do you think of that statement?
I thought you were going to say Roosters Tigers at the SCG.
Is that the one where Braithen Astor kicked the field goal?
Yeah.
I've never watched the full game actually for that, so I'm not too sure. But I know I've heard it was a good game. I have watched parts of it, like the Sean Kennedy out try and the Braithen Astor field goal. I think I've watched the highlights on it once. I'm a bit foggy on it, but I think that could probably be better. That game that had everything. I'm not too sure. But we'll quickly move on to the last afternoon. Then we'll get to some questions quickly before we do the news. Sunday afternoon. Roosters 14, Rabbitohs 30, and boys, sin bin Sunday. It was being called through the whole game. This was probably the most disappointing finals game of the lot. I really had high hopes for this. I really thought this could be the best finals game out of all of them, and that's saying something considering you had Panthers versus Eels, Storm versus Raiders, Sharks versus Cowboys. Disappointing to say the least, I think. What did you boys think?
Lockie, you go first.
I'm going to be brutally honest. This game, everyone during the game and in the moment, everyone thought this was a cracking game because of what was happening on the field and off the field. But during the game, for the real people who just wanted to watch some rugby league, it was disappointing at the least. The referees and the bunker and also the players, you could say, they turned a cracking game on its head that turned into boring to watch. There was too many sin bins. About 5 of the 7 weren't even sin bins. To say Vic Radley threw a punch, but he pushed him with his fist. To say, I think there was another high tackle, but he actually hit the ball and it bounced up. And there was multiple things. It's not the referee's fault. 'Cause in the heat of the moment, he had to stay consistent with his calls, which is what he did. But I think this should have been take away the sin bins. This is probably the best finals game we probably have nearly seen in our lifetime. But I think a good game was ruined.
Definitely. What was it? I think it was 7 sin bins, which is the record for. I think that's the most sin bins in an NRL game. Yeah, in a game in the NRL era. And it's a finals game. But not all of them were worth sin bins. Like the Victor Radley punch, that was a joke. That was an absolute joke. It wasn't a punch. Did it deserve a penalty? Maybe. Not a punch. That's not a sin bin. I think there were a couple shots put on. I think, like, for instance, who was it? I think it was Tom Burgess on Tedesco. That's sin bin worthy, in my opinion.
And
The
that
next
was even
shot he
called
went
up for.
to put on
That was
Matt
even
Lodge.
called
That
up for.
was so. And if you think about it, if the shot that Tom Burgess put on Tedesco was actually a sin bin, then they get to activate their 18th man. Because it wasn't, they didn't get to activate their 18th man. I don't think for the whole game.
The 18th man rule is broken.
It is very broken. I
don't
don't
even
see
know how it
why.
works.
Like, I don't see how
It's
it's if someone goes to the bin or send off, like, and the player has to go for the player fouls the HIA that had to go off, like, and then I think it's or if 3 or more people in your team foul the HIA. I don't get how that's fair, because if say if it's only penalties and 3 of your teammates foul HIAs, then you only have like 2 people on the bench at that point, the 18th man and whoever else is left on the bench, and then those people, like, the other team gets a field a full squad. Just like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really
Also,
don't.
I don't understand if they wanted. The most dangerous thing that happened all game was Joseph Suwali running back and lifting his knee into Mark
Exactly.
Nicholson.
And that wasn't even a penalty.
Like, I don't know if people know, but how much danger that action
Exactly.
can do.
It even hit him as well. I think even after the fact he got hit, I think he was still walking around holding his
He went
I
off
think
the
holding
field.
his
He went off the
abdominal
field
area.
and he got
Yeah.
off.
Well, my review of this game was that it was such a good game in the first half. For the first 25 minutes, the game just kept changing tides and momentum. There was a moment where South scored first; they were on top of them, and the Roosters hit back, and then all from there, the sin bins, everything, they just lost control. I don't know what the bunker was doing. I don't know if you can blame Klein too much because the players got heated and everything, but come on, a sin bin for a rat, they punch, like, it's contact sport. What do you want them to do? This is going to happen. Players are going to get emotional in a semi-final between the oldest rivalry. It's going to happen. I just don't understand. Like the Tedesco one, that was sin bin worthy, and it wasn't even pulled up for. When I'm going back on the highlights, there's some sin bin I'm scratching on. It's like, that's not even a sin bin, and there's some that actually had contact that was worthy of a sin bin that wasn't even called up. So it's inconsistency. It's ruining the game. Like you said, it probably could have gone to Golden Point. It probably could have been the best game, and I just felt, yes, the intensity was there. Yes, you got emotional and everything, but it ruined a good game of footy. And in the end, Rabbitohs won by 16. So, yeah, disappointing end for the Roosters season. Especially when they won 2 in a row. They were the most informed team there. Aside from Penrith, they were the most informed team. And that's why top 4 matters so much. I think now looking at the Roosters and Melbourne Storm season, you can't go and say that round 1, round 2 doesn't matter anymore. Every round counts for something now. If the Roosters are still in the semi, I still back them to be the Sharks and all that. So it's really disappointing for the Roosters.
As much as I don't like him, I'm very happy for Latrell. Latrell bounced back as the best he could. He kicked every conversion. He scored a try. He was back to his best really last game. And at the end of the game, pointing to the crowd and telling him to F off, I bet that felt real good for him.
Mate, that try he scored, the whole ground just went quiet. The whole ground just went silent.
Yeah, he definitely silenced the Roosters fans. It just shows if there's Roosters fans out here, you guys are very hot and cold.
Oh, Jai.
Well said. I'll quickly, before we go to questions, bear with us. We'll go to questions in probably just about 2 minutes, actually. I just want to quickly talk about maybe showboat a little bit. The same game multi I put up went through South's head-to-head. That's a big check. Nat Butcher anytime try scorer was a check. Latrell Mitchell, he scored, as we were just talking about, and it was over 42.5 total match points. So if you did jump on that, well, I mean, what can I say? Was a bit of a Houdini there with that bet. But we'll quickly, before we move on to the question segment, I just want to quickly put a poll in the chat. Obviously, off-season's coming up. Very sad. I'll be probably a bit depressed about it. Not quite. But I'd like to ask the chat. I've put a poll in. Would you like to see us cover other sports in the off-season? And if so, what sports? Like, there's obviously cricket, which is a mainstream one. Love cricket. I think there's NBA in the off-season. There's a few other ones that I haven't quite researched yet, but there's a few that we do watch. So if you would like to see us cover sports, click yes in the poll, and also comment what other sports you want to see us sort of take I don't know what to say there. We'll quickly go to the questions. There's a lot of them. Up the Rabbitohs, Ben Woodley. Congratulations. Good win. Did anyone get 4 from 4? I know Faraz and I did.
Yeah.
Lachlan, not so much, but I mean,
I think
Wait,
I
did
can't.
you tip the Roosters? Did you tip the Roosters?
Well, are you guys? Do you guys use the NRL tipping app?
Bro,
yeah.
yes, I tried to go on the app, yeah. Then it
I
goes
can't
on,
get
then it
into
goes
it.
off.
It crashes
I can't access it.
because I can't see who I went, Roosters or Rabbitohs. I know I went Storm.
You said
But-
Roosters on the podcast, I think so.
Yeah, but I can't remember
Yeah.
who I actually tipped on the app.
The same person who said, "Did anyone get 4 from 4?" said, "I got 3 from 4." So close. I only got 1 perfect round all season, and I don't even think it should have counted because I think it was when Cowboys beat Tigers. So, yikes there. Raiders a smoky. I mean, to make the grand final, yeah, definitely. I reckon they're a smoky. What do you boys think?
This week, if they can get through this week, you just never know. Because look, I think I might be tipping Raiders, but don't just rule out Parramatta as well. Like, there's a world where Parramatta could just come out and smash them 13 plus if they want to. Depends on what Parramatta turns up. So, I think if Raiders do it this week, I definitely can see them going there. If they win this week, for sure, 100%. I definitely think there's a chance. You know, it'll still be tough to beat the Cows in Townsville, but when you've beaten Parramatta, when you beat Melbourne, there's no reason why you can't beat the Cowboys.
If they get through
Well
this
said.
week, Raiders 13 plus.
Oh,
Okay, against the Cowboys.
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay, we'll just quick fire these questions, quick answers, boys, because we actually have a few people telling us what sports to cover in the off season. Best and worst game this week. For me, the best game was Cowboys versus Sharks. Pretty simple there. And worst game, Roosters versus Rabbitohs. It didn't live up to the hype. It could have been so
same as
much
Noah.
better. Any for us?
Worst game. I don't think Panthers Eels can be the worst game. I'll say Roosters Rabbitohs with all the hype.
Well, yeah.
It's fun.
And best game?
Oh, sorry. Oh, best game. Got to be Sharks Cows.
Well said. Tips this week. We'll get into that next episode when we actually do. We'll do the actual whole full finals review plus news, and then we'll actually do a review for each. So preview for each game. So Cleary, wow, definitely Cleary proving why he's the form fullback in the form halfback. Sorry, in the comp. He's brilliant. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Simply amazing. He has a chance to be the best fullback
Surely
we've
he's
seen
ahead
in
of
a long
Cherry Evans
time.
for the World Cup now. Surely he's ahead of DC.
He has to be. I don't think Cherry Evans was ever really in contention. Eels bench was weak. It was. It really was, and that's something they have to work on this week against the Raiders.
Also,
I
if we're
do
speaking
believe
about
they have
Parramatta,
released.
If we're speaking about Parramatta, did you see Nathan Cleary's first and second kicks on the last? No one was even contesting. Where was the pressure on Nathan? He just came back from like an injury for 5 weeks. Where was the contest? No one gave him pressure.
Yeah, I have no clue. No pressure on him either.
How many
Cowboys.
questions are there? Holy heckers.
Yeah, there's a lot. Thank you for all the questions. We'll try and get through all of them. We might do half an hour, maybe half later, but we'll definitely get to most of the sports ones soon. Cowboys Panthers grand final. I can see it. I definitely can. I think
I can
that's the
see
most
it,
likely
but
one.
Cowboys won't win it.
Cowboys won't win it. You heard it here first from Lockie.
Is there any chance that either Souths or Sharks could beat the Panthers? Is there any chance somehow they can knock off Penrith?
There's a small chance, but if it's Panthers versus Cowboys grand final, I'm making it 90-10 Panthers Cowboys. I don't see Cowboys having much of a chance. I like the Cows.
Who do you think has a better chance to beat Panthers, Sharks or Rabbits?
Sharks or Rabbits? Rabbitohs, actually.
Rabbitohs.
I'm going to go with Rabbitohs. I just have a feeling they earlier this year with Latrell, they nearly took them. I mean, they were resting a lot of players. Like they had no Cleary, but I do think Rabbitohs probably more likely.
Yeah, there's no reason why. In recent games, they've been close. I mean, so were the Sharks, but I think Souths. It depends on who wins this week, but probably say Souths.
Definitely. Storm era done. They're never done, really.
Nah.
I try to call them off every single year, and it doesn't happen.
Keep in mind, everyone,
yeah.
that like they still had one of the best players out in Ryan Pappenhausen. They had like Remus Smith out, George Jennings, Christian Welch they lost at the start of the year. George Jennings, whether these are high quality players or not, like they still lost key players at key moments. Even like they lost Harry Grant for a while. So I think Grant had to play 7 as well in the game against the Cows. Then you lost Munster for a period. Jaden Nickerin was playing 6. So it was all over the shop. So for them to be competing for the top 4, it's incredible. Like even the games they lost, like Manly, they were like down 30-0. They lost by 6. The Roosters game, they weren't at their best. They lost by 4. So this Storm side, you can never knock them off. And I think next year's their year. I'm not saying they're going to win or anything, but I think next year's their year to show people they still got it. And all these people saying, oh, Jesse's leaving, Kenny's leaving. I mean, they're getting older. They're trying to like fit in the new guys in as well. They're moving the guys that are washed up.
Do people not realize they lost Slater, Cronk, and Smith, and they're still doing this?
Exactly.
Yeah, well said.
They're still a top 4 side. It's incredible how good they are and how successful they are of a franchise.
For me, it all comes down to Bellamy, to be honest.
Apparently, he said that he's quitting after next year, so next year's a big year for the Storm.
I think
he'll go to Dolphins.
I have a feeling he'll stick around, but just not as head coach.
I think if anyone's going to the Dolphins for the Storm right now, it's probably Munster.
I have a feeling 2024, I'm calling this now, 2023, Storm to finish like 6th or something. 2024, Storm to really struggle to make the 8. I have a feeling losing Munster and Bellamy, if they do, that could be big.
If they lose Munster, I can see the 2024 prediction coming true, but 2023, there's still a top 4 chance for me. You just never know. And I think it's too early to make those sort of predictions because there seems like Manly, who I still think they can break through in the 8 next year. So it'll be a much open comp as well next year. So you just never know.
Tarpany over Haas at the moment, yeah. I mean, I have no problem with that. I reckon so. He's the most informed front rower in the comp right now. And, I mean, it is what it is. Raiders lucky to make the 8.
No.
Yes. No, I have to say they are. If Broncos
Brisbane were like 6. Look, I get that, but Brisbane was 6 to 8 points ahead. Canberra could have literally just given up after 21 rounds, basically.
But I'm saying they're lucky the Broncos choked the way they did. If Broncos don't choke that the way they did, Broncos finish like 6th or 7th, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they're only 2 points behind Souths and the Roosters. So, I mean, I don't think they're lucky. I think I can see what you're saying. That Brisbane sort of knocked themselves out, but that's not really Canberra's fault. They needed that to happen, and they took their luck. They beat the good sides. They beat the Storm in Melbourne. They beat the Rabbitohs when no one gave them a chance. They beat the Roosters in Canberra. So Canberra have deserved it as much as Brisbane. And in the end, Brisbane choked. They lost to the Dragons and Tigers. If they win those 2 games, they're on 32 points. I'm pretty sure, which is ahead of the Raiders by 2 points. And the Raiders managed to beat the Dragons and the Tigers. So I don't think they're lucky. I think that they deserved it in the end. And they're the semi now. They're the semi.
Well said. Sharks choke? I don't think so. We'll go through these last few pretty quickly. We might not even do the news tonight. We might instead save the news for the preview next. It might be tomorrow. Might be the day after. Most impressive side this week. Oh, that's a hard one. I'd have to go Raiders. They impressed me. I also think Penrith, although they're the form team in the comp, they impressed me with the way that they just gelled instantly upon return. But I mean, it is.
That just shows that you have a good system and a good structure.
Definitely. Souths or Cronulla, who should be favourites? Cronulla, I think. I mean, finished higher. Souths. That's a bold one.
Sharks 13+.
Oh,
Sharks
stop
13+. I'll hop on that bandwagon. I'll hop on that one.
What about you too?
Holmes, NFL experience, backfield job is something else.
Now he's gone from a guy that was succeeding at the Sharks, who's a young kid enjoying footy, to now being a big name player, and he stepped up in a finals game.
Definitely. Latrell or Grubb? I'm not going to really comment on this. I don't really want to say much. No.
I'm just going to be totally honest. Latrell is a wonderful person outside the field. He's probably one of the best fullbacks right now in the game, but I just think he tries to play the victim card too much for me. I'm not going to go further, but yeah, he's not that bad as everyone says he is. But yeah,
grand final prediction.
I'll be honest on the Latrell thing real quick.
Yeah,
he's not a grub. You would say he's a serial pest. He knows how to get under people's skin. He knows how to get in their head. He knows how to get on top of them. And then after that, he runs with it. And then they lose their marbles. Latrell wins. He has the last laugh. And then it's game over.
It doesn't bother him at all. Does not get to his head.
Grand final prediction. Ooh, for me, Cowboys versus Panthers. A lot of people are going for that, but I mean, that's the only other one I can actually see it being is. Oh, actually, I can see a few, but either Penrith versus Cowboys, Raiders versus Penrith, or Sharks versus Cowboys. But I doubt Penrith lose week 3. So, take your pick, boys.
I'm just going to give mine right now. I'm going to go Panthers, Cowboys, but if there's an alternate one for that, I'm going to go Panthers and Parramatta. But yeah.
Well said.
Parramatta won't make the grand final.
Fair enough.
So what's yours, Lachlan?
I think it'll be Cowboys, Penrith, but if I'm going to go one, I'll go. I'll back me in finals time. Me Sharkies. I'll go Sharks versus Panthers.
I think it can be Sharks versus Panthers because
no. Sharks have to play Panthers in the prelim.
Sharks have to play Panthers week 3.
Oh.
So it'll have to be Sharks versus Cowboys, or if Sharks make it, or Sharks versus Raiders, which I'd actually pay to see a lot of those games.
Before Lachlan goes on, can I just say something? Even for me, I have the Cows making the grand final, but I still don't think they're going to challenge the Panthers. Like, it might be close for a while, but I think Panthers will be too good.
Well said.
Yeah,
keep rolling. Raiders Storm was better. I'm guessing better than Sharks versus Cowboys.
No, I think he's talking about the Roosters Rabbitohs, maybe. Not sure.
I'm not too sure.
Can I just say, Faraz Alarm, why is he commenting on his own podcast?
Turbo overrated.
Just pop one up there.
Don't worry, Faraz. Just
you'll get
noticed.
I want to get your question soon.
I want to get your thoughts on this. I actually want to get your thoughts on this. Last year, everyone was saying he was the best fullback and all. Now we've got Latrell, we've got Gunston, we've got Tedesco. Dylan Edwards has popped up. Where do you think Turbo ranks in the fullback?
I think it's too big a discussion for tonight. I think we don't
have all day, mate. I'm hungry. I need dinner.
We'll try and get this to around 40 minutes because that's a long stream. Thank you all for sticking with us. We've had a lot of viewers for a long amount of time. Thoughts on Roosters not scoring with South's 11 men?
Oh.
I mean, that just showed how good South's, how much more South's wanted it for me. I mean,
for me,
probably didn't deserve to be.
The Roosters didn't structure the play. Being there was a huge gap on the left-hand side. They didn't structure their play.
Yeah.
It's not the Roosters at all.
The Roosters, they looked sort of lost without an experienced halfback. They did last year against the Titans as well. So, I mean, finals time, Roosters looking like they're going to crumble under pressure until Sam Walker gets more experience. I guess we'll see. Game's gone soft. I agree. After that Rabbitohs versus Roosters game, especially.
They've lost control.
It's just stupid. Klein can't ref. I mean, I'm not for referee.
He can do better than all of us.
He's a better ref.
He was looking after 26 men on the field who were pissed off at each other.
Very true.
I think if you're talking about just generally, I think maybe not, but I don't think it's Klein's fault that the players get so emotional and get into a wreck every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that the test jersey for us, mate? Ooh.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is. And speaking of cricket, now we're getting into the section. I'm just going to call this question segment 2, which is what people want us to cover in the off-season. Do you follow BBL? Joshua, if you're still with us, mate, we do. I'm a Heat fan. Lockie's a Heat fan. And Faraz is a Sixers fan. I'm pretty sure Davos is actually a Stars fan as well. He should be back by then. We'll see. To cover the BBL. Do you do Big Bash if you follow them? Another one. It's Josh Stokes again. Yep, I reckon we'll do Big Bash. Yeah. Do a bit of international cricket if we mainly Australia cricket though. I don't really watch any of the others if I'm being completely honest.
Fair enough.
FIFA World Cup. That's actually a really good shout. I don't watch much soccer, but it'll
be hard to get around all the games, but like let's say the Socceroos play and all that. Definitely get behind that.
Definitely.
We'll follow them. We'll follow the main big games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can do that. We'll do that for you, Leah. Yes, FIFA World Cup coming up. Kieran, yep, we'll do that, I reckon. And Faraz says Turbo overrated. I'm not too sure about that, Faraz. I might have to block you from the channel for now. No, I'm just kidding. And before we end off, Actually, there might be
I
at
think
least
it's-
follow all the Aussie games. I think you're
Yeah.
talking about FIFA World Cup. We will
Yeah,
definitely
100%.
all the Aussie games, and maybe some of the bigger games. Like I think I'm not too sure which countries are the bigger ones in FIFA, but I think England,
Portugal, Argentina, and all those
Argentina,
sides.
yeah.
France, Denmark, yeah.
Yeah. We'll follow the bigger ones, I reckon, and watch those. Get at least one person watching them. That way, we can all talk about it, talk about the result.
We also, if it does interest anyone, A-League season's coming up as well.
Definitely. Brisbane Roar. I can't really name any other teams because I've only just gotten into it, but I mean, there's always Brisbane Roar. Yeah, France, another big team.
Sky Blues, Noah?
Who are the Sky Blues? Sydney?
Sydney what?
Sydney FC?
Oh, there we go. He's got two. Right.
Yes. Okay, I'm so good at this. But before we end off, I've just had a question for you boys. Don't want to drag this on too much. We'll only do like probably 50 words or less for this. $1 million question: is Joe Tarpany worth $1 million per season? In your opinions, doesn't have to be no right or wrong answer.
If Payne Haas isn't worth $1 million, Joe Tarpany isn't worth $1 million.
For you, Frost?
If we're all sitting back there in May laughing at Payne Haas being worth $1 million, then the same answer is here. No, Tarpany's a beast. Don't get me wrong, but like, not fair to say that he's $1 million player after 1 year. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
There's three players in the comp that I believe is $1 million.
Can I guess them?
Yeah, go.
Cleary, Munster there. Teddy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's exactly the same. I only think those three are worth $1 million. I don't think like Haas while he's up there, like
for a front row, the max
he's
I'll be paying is $850.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we can all agree that Fafita isn't worth $1 million. No,
Fafita's nowhere near worth $1 million. I think
Fafita
he's
is worth Fafita's worth a bloody chopper chop at the moment.
Yeah, I think, but Joe Tarpany for me, he's worth $800K max, maybe $850 on current form, but $800K is what I would be.
But I tell you, it wouldn't surprise me. A team could get him for unders for about $720, I reckon.
My bold prediction is because apparently multiple clubs are worth trying to pay $1 million for him. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the Roosters. Uncle Nick at it again. Or I could see Bulldogs probably trying to sign him. I'm not sure how they'd have the cap.
I think the Dolphins have to throw the kitchen sink at him.
I mean, I'm not too sure. They've got a lot of front row forwards, but at the same time, he would be the best out of all of them.
Well, I was talking about Fafita here.
No, we're talking about. I think we're talking about Tarpany right now.
If I was the Dolphins and I signed Tarpany, I'll put Jesse Bromwich on the bench and put him at starting front row.
Definitely. But yeah, I think Dolphins, that's a whole nother discussion, their team. But that should just about end us off. 43 minutes, that's a bit long, but I mean, fans seem to love it. We still have 2 or 3 viewers in at the moment. Had about 2 or 3 for the whole stream. At one stage we had about 7 or 8. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been an amazing stream. Loved answering your questions. Try and do this more often where we just do mainly questions. I reckon that would be good. But yeah, make sure to tune in. We'll follow our Instagram page at the Final Siren Podcast. We'll be posting on there to tell you when the next live stream will be for the preview of the 2 games this weekend. But yeah, we'll see you then, and thanks for tuning in.